Watch out. You watch out, Rex. You watch out. He's trying. Color guard prepare to post the colors. Color guard halt. Color guard prepare to post the colors. Color guard post the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
2. Color guard dismissed.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. It's great to have you here tonight. We appreciate that. May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Zwicker?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Corman?
Here.
Ms. Palmer?
Here.
Mr. Person?
Here.
Mr. Prince?
Here.
Ms. Breyer? Here. Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all present.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is a very special proclamation for a very special volunteer.
Proclamation. Whereas Bert Nord has been volunteering at the City Hall Information Desk since April 25, 1985, and has given approximately 5,560 hours of his time to this position. And whereas Bert recently retired from his volunteer position on November 10th after 27 years of faithful service on the occasion of his 90th birthday. And whereas we all, citizens, staff, and city officials alike, thank Bert for his dedication, helpfulness, professionalism, and ambassadorship to and on behalf of the city of Renton. And whereas Bert is a World War II veteran, and we also gratefully thank him for his service to our nation. And whereas Bert has made a positive mark on our city's history and our lives, and we wish him well. Now therefore I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim November 19th, 2012 to be Bert Nord Day in the City of Renton. And I encourage all citizens to join me in wishing Bert a very happy birthday and thanking him for his many years of service. In witness whereof, I've hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 19th day of November, 2012. Signed, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Breyer.
I make a motion that council concur with the proclamation.
Enthusiastically seconded.
Been moved by Ms. Breyer, seconded by Mr. Zwicker, that council concur with this proclamation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And it's my pleasure to present this to Bert.
Thank you so much. What an honor, what a pleasure to be here with all you people that I see every Monday evening, afternoon. You come by and either stop by and say hi or wave at me or yell across the hall at me, and it's been a pleasure. So, Mayor Dennis Law, Jay Covington, Bonnie Walton and staff of the city clerk's office, I want to just say thank you so very much for all these honors and all the work and effort that you people have put into getting me at this point. And I'll tell you, I don't know where the 90 years went, but they did go by. I always remember Mr. Parker when he used to come in. I don't think it failed that he opened the door and and he'd step in and say, "Mr. Burt, how are you today?" I said, "Oh, I'm fine," and he'd come over and we'd chat a little bit, and I'd say, "Anything going on exciting at the at the council tonight?" And he said, "Well, you never know." He says, "It could be exciting, and it might be just a regular meeting." So with all that, I want to say thank you very much, and it's much appreciated. I never thought I'd ever get to speak before the council like this, and it's been a good thing. I would recommend volunteering the city of Renton for anybody, because it's really, I always used to look forward to that Monday afternoon to come down and spend a few, pick up the phone, didn't know exactly what was going to be on the other end of it, but, but we made it. Thanks again so much.
Thank you, Bert, and congratulations. Bert, Jay Covington has something also to show everybody here.
Bert, as you know,
Oh.
some of the members of the audience have to get there so the camera can see this, but Bert, prior to the time he became a volunteer for the city of Renton, he spent a lot of years right on this site. This is a picture of his gas station that you took ownership of in 1947. And operated on this very site where City Hall is. And so we have, the clerk's office has reproduced this picture. We're going to hang this right behind the volunteer desk down on the first floor.
Oh, fun. Nice.
So as people come in, they'll be able to see this, and just as our token of appreciation, Bert, for all years of service.
Thank you very,
It'll be a
very
great
much.
conversation piece. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bert.
Sir, can we get a group shot real quick with council, or last chance?
Let's do that. Let's go down there.
Your opportunity.
Okay.
Come on forward.
All right.
Careful.
It's not every day all the council comes down here. Just want to say that. Thinking of you. All right. Thank you all very much. And big smile. Fantastic. Thank you.
It was. That was great.
There aren't many people.
Okay, now we have a special presentation. Suzanne Dale Esty.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. That's a tough act to follow, but this should be fun. Just for the record, I'm Suzanne Dale Esty, the Economic Development Director here at the city, which includes promoting arts and culture here in the community and supporting our community marketing efforts. The Renton Community Marketing Campaign, which, as you all know, but for our viewing audience, is a joint effort of the city, the Renton Chamber of Commerce, Renton Visitors Connection, Renton Technical College, the Renton School District, and Valley Medical Center proudly presented the 5th annual Renton Film Frenzy this October. We have volunteers from most of those organizations that make up our planning committee, and it's a year-round effort by a number of volunteers. We're also very grateful for the partnership we have with the Renton Municipal Arts Commission on this project, as well as the Renton Reporter, a really neat organization called Real Girls, which promotes young women's involvement in the film industry, the Film School, and the Seattle International Film Festival. So all these partners are involved in the Renton Film Frenzy. And we had a very successful 5th annual Renton Film Frenzy. As a quick reminder to primarily, again, to the viewing audience, the Renton Film Frenzy is a 50-hour filmmaking competition. Filmmakers had 50 hours between Friday night, October 5th, through Sunday evening, October 7th, to produce, write, shoot, edit, and submit a film. Films could be up to 4 minutes in length and had to be shot entirely in Renton. Filmmakers were also given what we call curveball challenges, and they were given those right at the 5 o'clock hour at the beginning of the competition. This year's curveballs were a line of dialogue which included SIF Renton, a scene filmed at the new Renton Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Center in downtown Renton, and a shot of Renton's most recently installed public arts work, Wings and Wheels, which a few folks had a hard time finding, but is out along Logan Avenue. We had a record number of participants this year, 25 teams, and teams ranged from 5 to 10 or more people. And so 25 teams signed up for the competition. This year's competitors were from throughout the region, Des Moines, Tacoma, Bellevue, and Kent. We had 3 teams from Seattle and several great teams from right here in the community of Renton. So while we're far from the global destination film festival that we'd originally envisioned, it's certainly becoming a regional competition, which was one of our goals. Interestingly, although for last year, for the first time, all of the competitors finished, and this year only 17 teams finished. So 17 out of the 25, and then one was disqualified. So 16 qualified, and that made for an exciting Curvy Awards Gala on October 23rd at the Renton Performing Arts Center. This year we also had the second annual screening night at the Renton Civic Theater the night before the Curvies. And several hundred people attended each of these events. It was really fun to see the Civic Theater darn well packed, and a good crowd at the Renton IKEA Performing Arts Center. I will say for the members of the council that the planning committee has met, and instead of the Monday, Tuesday timeframe, we're looking at Tuesday, Wednesday of next year. So hopefully you'll be able to come to the screening. Jim Dever with King 5 Television was our MC again at the Curvies, and he was joined this year, kind of a turn of his involvement as a judge, by Adam Gerke with Channel 13 and KPLU. Top films received Curvy Awards made by Uptown Glassworks, and they're also made by Lindbergh High School. They do the plates on the awards, and then there was $1,700 in cash prizes. So the Renton Film Frenzy is part of the marketing campaign's economic development efforts, and a lot of people don't intuitively think of this as economic development, but we are working to foster arts and culture in our community, particularly in the downtown, and to make Renton an even more, it already is, but an even more hip and interesting place that welcomes diversity, where people would want to live, work, learn, and play, but also where new economy companies would be interested in bringing their employees. The Film Frenzy helps draw people to stores and restaurants throughout Renton during the film weekend, and we certainly got reports back of people who were sort of all over town. And then quite a few people go to our downtown restaurants on the night of the screening and the Curvies. We are continuing to try to build this into an even bigger destination film festival, and to get what the hotels call heads in beds, and to draw tourists and visitors for many years to come. As I mentioned, it's been a little bit slower than we'd hoped, but it's indeed growing each year, which is really exciting. So we're excited this year that that the partnership with the Seattle International Film Festival has continued to grow. The SIF is the largest film festival in the nation, and they have committed as a partner both of the Film Frenzy, but as part of their prior 2 years to bring their festival back to Renton next May. And the Renton Community Marketing Campaign just voted to continue that partnership for another year. Really briefly, as I wrap up, by way of regional media coverage, which is always one of our goals, this year the partnership with Jim Dever really paid tremendous dividends, and the winning film, which we'll show tonight, each year I'm asked, why don't we get to see the film? So we are going to show the People's Choice Award and the Best Picture. The winning film was shown on King 5's Evening Magazine, and we got great exposure there. We also continued to attract thousands of visitors to our website, rentonfilmfrenzy.com, and we continued to use all of the social media platforms even further with Facebook, Twitter, and film-oriented blogs. There's just a whole niche out there. So as you can see from the programs that we've passed around, there's a tremendous number of team members in this effort, and we're just really proud of the Renton Film Frenzy. I did mention the Renton Reporter, and we've had an excellent partnership with the Renton Reporter. They were back again this year to put together the People's Choice Award following the Curvies. And so Dean Radford, the editor of the Renton Reporter, is here to present that award, and then we'll show People's Choice and the Best Picture.
Nice. Hi, I'm Dean Radford, and I'm here to present the People's Choice Award. I'm kind of hoping you already know who that the winner is, because it's been in our paper and on our website. So if not, oh well. But for those of you who may not know who the winner is, I'm going to have at least a little bit of suspense here. So, and People's Choice Award, in case you don't know, is the voting is done online at rentonreporter.com. And it's always fun to do, and I think people really enjoy commenting and viewing the films, and it's just another way to really, from our standpoint, kind of expand and expose even more people to the film frenzy, and it's just a lot of fun to do. So this is the People's Choice Awards from the very beginning. 2008, Los Labors Lost. 2009, I Am Renton. 2010, Transference. 2011, The Disconnect. And this year's People's Choice Award goes to Girls in Ghostland. And it was really a cool film. And we have the producer, we have one of the stars, and we have the one of the Ghost Wranglers here. So if they can come up. Here's Zimmerman. This is Dave Zimmerman. He's the producer. This is Emma. Hi, Emma. and this is the Ghost Wrangler. Sif Wrangler. Okay. Yeah. Here you go.
Thank you very much. You want to take that?
Oh, it's heavy.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Emma, can you turn and just smile for me real quick, everybody? Okay, here we go. There. Perfect. Thank you. Thanks.
So I just want to say one quick word is the Film Frenzy coordinators that Suzanne, I think, mentioned, all the different partners that got together and made this kind of funky little contest, and that incented me and my dad to get out with my daughters and spend a weekend, making some memories in the movie. And then the Renton Reporter, I'd like to thank them for giving me the opportunity to shamelessly promote my daughters as a proud father. And, get this movie, I sent the email to lots of people and used Facebook and Twitter and all kinds of things, so lots of people saw it. So, thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Karate. Well, maybe we'll teach you. Sure. You want to play? Yeah. Let's go. I bet you can hook frisbee. That thing gets loose. Renton's doomed. What are we going to do about that scary ghost? He keeps on wandering around town. I know. Come on. Ha! Here, there's a fountain. Okay. Ella, what's in the box? You'll see. A book. Here, take the box. Thanks. There. That's what we need. what we should do. Come on. Get that ghost. Yeah. Wait! What? Can I get a snack first? I'm hungry. Now we've got you. I stand guard. I'm gonna get you. Oh look, my frisbee. Hi-ya! Watch out, Steve! Want to do it again tomorrow? Yeah. And Ray look on me. Yeah.
And I will say, as I opened the film, that it was an incredibly beautiful weekend.
That felt good. Good line reading, huh?
Did I rush? I feel like I rushed.
No, not at all. You're a natural.
Really? It's hard to tell. It's my first movie.
I think you're spectacular.
Really?
Yeah, that's right. You actually have real talent to go along with your beauty, so it's a rare thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right, everybody.
definitely.
The superlatives. C4, take 2. Action! Cut!
Hey, Mitch, wasn't John a little too angled on that last take?
Felt fine to me, Mitch.
Really? When I was at Steppenwolf, Malkovich gave a lesson how you should never stand there.
You know John Malkovich?
Well, I wouldn't just say know him, I call him Malky.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I heard he stopped teaching like 12 years ago.
Yeah, I'll admit it wasn't my younger years. I am seasoned in the arts, but I'm always young at love.
Oh, but old everywhere else.
I just love his movies.
Well, I'll let him know he has a fan next time I visit him at his chalet for the holidays.
Wow, that's amazing.
Jackie Chan is my uncle.
Wow.
C4, take 3. Action! That's a camera cut!
So, Mitch, I was thinking that my character could be giving his reply in Chinese, something like 花能盛开要太阳，这物长得好要心爱。
You speak Chinese?
I do, fluently. Something passed on to me by my great-grandmother. God rest her soul.
Did you get your big teeth from her, too?
这家伙我们更难进 Sif Renton.
So profound.
Yeah?
The soprano talkative. Scene 11, take 2. Action! Cut!
Is it really necessary to have John's character drop to the ground like that and do push-ups?
Mitch, that's exactly what my character would be doing. Establishing his male superiority and effervescence through a display of physical prowess.
In a tux!
Hey, when you feel the urge...
Super relative. Scene 12, take 2. Positions.
Action! Here they come! Come on! Why? Oh!
That's a good camera.
Hey, you know, I think I can do that better.
Mitch, I got a better idea. Considering the chemistry between Deanna's character and my character, shouldn't my character be in this scene instead?
Come on.
The super laxatives, scene 8, take 3.
Action.
Oh, piffle.
Cut camera.
You know, this really only works with my character. Yours is a little redundant, John.
This is a natural expression of who he is. Your character...
Mitch, honey, I think I need to use the ladies' room. Would that be okay?
Sure, sweetie. Go ahead.
Best husband ever.
Man, she's a real talent.
Impeccable.
Hey, I really liked your last take on that last scene.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I like what you were doing with it, too.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. Hey, put it there.
Your acting is so unbelievable.
Thank you.
Good.
Suzanne, are you leaving us? Okay, I think that was the end of the second edition. I just wanted to thank Suzanne and her staff. Suzanne works really hard on this every year, so thank you very much, Suzanne. Okay, we'll move on to administrative report. Mr. Covington.
No report tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, next is audience comment. We have several people that have signed up to address the council. When I call your name, please come to the podium, give your name and city of residence for the record, and you have 5 minutes. There's a timer next to the city clerk. First is Mark Dos Promedios.
Well, I hope they don't start the timer until I get done finished spelling my last name. Mark Dos Remedios, D-O-S space R-E-M-E-D-I-O-S. I reside in the city of Federal Way. I'm also the president of the Renton Firefighters Union Local 864. I guess my reason for being here is to talk to you guys about the fee for transport that's on the proposed budget for the biennium. The firefighters local, we've looked at all sorts of things. We've talked to neighboring jurisdictions who use fee for transport. Some of them have had success with it. A lot of them have had a lot of reservations about it. My 2 points are, number one, I think that the numbers that you've been presented are misleading under the current staffing model that we have. We have one aid car inside the city, which transported less than 600 times in the last 2 years, which would skew those numbers to approximately 50% of what was presented. I realize that the city's in tough times. I realize that the council made a commitment in February to look at all new streams of revenue before they would look at anything else. But you have a citizens advisory panel that met and said, hey, we're all for fee for transport if it will improve the level of service that we provide. Not only does it not improve the level of service that we provide, but from my understanding of what Chief Peterson has said, if we do not implement fee for transport, it's actually going to cut the level of service that we're able to provide. The biggest thing that we stand for is safety. Safety of our members, the safety of the citizens that we protect. If you're sitting at your house and you read in the Renton Reporter that there's going to be a charge on fee for transport, and you're sitting at your home and your chest starts to hurt and you're thinking, oh, tough times, I should call 911 because I kind of got this discomfort. Is there even the slightest bit of hesitation for you to call because you're worried about a bill that you're going to get in the mail? What we do as firefighters, it's manpower intensive. It's highly technical, but the most important thing is it is time critical. The sooner we get to you, the sooner we get to your home, or the sooner we get to the problem, the more of an impact we can have. And if there's even the slightest bit of hesitation on behalf of a person calling 911 because they think that it's going to have a financial impact upon their life, upon their livelihood, on their ability to thrive as a citizen of this city, then it should be something that is not only not implemented, but it should be frowned upon. We looked at it in 2010. It wasn't a good idea then. It's not a good idea now.
The city has all sorts of ways to generate revenue. The fire department has never, nor should it ever be, a revenue-generating entity. The fire department is here for the safety of the public. The fire department is here as an insurance policy. We are not a revenue-generating organization. We shouldn't be. Council members, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Covington, I thank you for your time. I hope you will honestly look at the true numbers that this will generate. It's not worth the money. I have my entire union body standing behind me, letting you know that as a council, as a mayor, as a city, we are here for you. We love our jobs. There's no doubt about that. But under these financial circumstances, under the staffing levels we have, under the aging workforce that we have and the disabilities that we're running into, we have one aid car in this city. 600 transports or less. That is, at best, if every single person we transported paid, less than $360,000. If every single person paid. A collection rate of 40%, which would be outstanding, is less than $140,000 a year. What is that in relation to the city's budget? It's less than 1%. Is it worth less than 1% of your budget to have even the thought that one person in the city might look at the Renton Reporter, read it and go, oh, we're going to charge for transport, and the next day, oh, my chest hurts. I can't afford that. I'll wait it out, see if it goes away. I don't think we can afford that. Our membership doesn't think we can afford that. That's why we're here tonight. There have been all sorts of conversations earlier today. I was biting my tongue through the whole thing, but this is the one thing that our membership, we can stand behind 100% and say this is a poor idea in the best of times. It doesn't make it a good idea in the worst of times. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Next is Suzanne Lombard.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Suzanne Lombard, Lombard. I live in Seattle, unfortunately unincorporated King County. I'm here to talk about the failure of the West Hill annexation vote. And I'll probably jump around a little bit, but first I want to say congratulations to Burke. I worked with him when I worked here at the city. Congratulations to Bonnie Walton for finding and preserving that great record of his picture. Good job. I worked on records management when I was here with the city, and at that time I really understood how well the city was run. I was out there in the neighborhoods beating the bush, as they say, going door to door, selling people in my neighborhood on the city of Renton. And I worked tirelessly along with other people in my committee, and I want to first say thank you so much for letting us have the vote. The problem is we didn't get the word out to the citizens soon enough. Maybe I'm naive, but what I found to have resulted in a lot of the failure was even today I talked to somebody at the fitness center. I didn't know what was this about, so I voted no. I think a lot of people voted no because they just didn't think they had enough information. Maybe I should have known that your job wasn't necessarily to educate. I thought when you hosted that event at the Dimmitt Middle School, the people would have the opportunity, but many people didn't even know about that. Our committee spent many thousands of dollars trying to get the word out to people and going door to door, but I wasn't aware that that was our job, and I'm probably naive in that regard, not understanding enough about annexation. But I felt like if the council had been really fully behind us, if we had had Mayor Law's vote, I can tell you what, there's an awful lot of people who wouldn't have said what they did. The no committee kept saying over and over and over, Renton doesn't want us. And I heard that every time people slammed their door in my face. And I said, that's wrong, where did you hear that? And trying to rise above that and say, Renton does transport, that's a nice segue into the fee. That was something that came up in the West Hill annexation about Renton doesn't transport. Well, I got the records the very next day and found out, of course they do. I used to manage those records. But the no committee or the no group was very loud. And they had so many things on their side saying that Renton can't afford us, Renton doesn't want us. Even Mayor Law voted against us. And I understand why you did. I empathize with your position. But we missed a golden opportunity. Now, Dow Constantine says, don't let this opportunity go. Seize on this. I don't know if there is a chance, but I can tell you what. There are so many more people now that are coming out in favor of this, and we were like, where were you when we needed you? That we could have a petition to you, I swear, within 4 weeks. and we could have this back on the agenda. Please do not take us out of your PAA. I have worked tirelessly in this neighborhood since 2000, and I have poured tens of thousands of hours into saving Community Beach, trying to save a parcel for Pocket Park, and now this project. I was the treasurer of the West Hill Yes Committee and tore my hair out over the PDC requirements. But I can tell you the people do want something to happen, and I appreciate your vote. I hope you'll let us bring it up again. I hope it is not off the table. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Palmer.
I saw Mr. Constantine's public statement, and in that he did say, I hope the cities won't give up. I thought once we went for that state sales tax credit once and it was voted, that we didn't have another stab at.
No, we do have an opportunity through 2015 if an annexation petition is started to still take advantage of the sales tax credit.
Okay.
I think, Mr. Mayor, I think the Councilwoman Palmer maybe as confused as I was about it. Remember, at one point we had 3 separate sales tax tents. It was the third sales tax credit that expired. So this one that we would still be able, we've implemented one. There is another one available for an annexation over 10,000, and the deadline for that is annexation has to be initiated by the end of 2015.
Thank you.
Okay, next is John White.
Hello, Mayor. Hello, City Council members. My name is John White. Last name is White, like the color, W-H-I-E. I reside in Bellevue. And the reason I'm here is with regards to docket 91, which is, I believe, called out as accessory dwelling unit review. And for the public who don't know what ADU stands for, it's actually an acronym for accessory dwelling unit, which I may use when I'm speaking. The one point I really like to make is that I'm very new to this process of how things are codified and such. And after looking at the agenda, I did notice that there's going to be reading of some things, maybe code tonight for the first time. I thought that the ADU code would be read tonight. Doesn't look like it's going to be. I don't know when that will be read, so maybe I'm here a little bit early, but I'll try to keep it really short. Basically, what was proposed is that ADUs would be limited to the size 50% of the primary dwelling unit, primary residence, primary house. And that, in my opinion, and based on a lot of research and experience in this area, I felt like that was very restrictive. So it was, as you all know, they bring up dockets, or they have a public oral comment from the public, correct? Right, we'll do that. And I missed that. But then I found out you were allowed to submit a public comment in writing. So actually, I did do that. And the planning department took a look at that and closely, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but I did know that about 3 weeks later it would go before, after the 1 week of open for public comment, that would go before the planning commission. And sure enough, it did. And when I was sitting here at that planning commission, that was October 17th, at that time, the planner read the proposed code, and sure enough, they changed it from 50% of the primary to 75%, which was like, I was like ecstatic. I thought that was great. I won't go into all the details why. But then, to my great surprise, it was added to that additional comment, additional recommendation be made that there be a height limit to the height of the primary residence. Now that was a quite surprise to me, and I've been trying to submit public comment, in a sense, to kind of bring up some issues, and it's kind of like the ball's rolling pretty quickly at this point. So I kind of realized that probably, and this is kind of my opinion, maybe the city attorney can there was a due process violation, not like, we're just gonna ram this through, but just like, it seems to me that since the docket was changed and this new item was added, and it was like in the 11th hour plus, like 11:59, that it never really got reviewed by the public, and the public never had comment. So what I'm asking is the city council, sometime you're going to hear this, you're also going to vote on it, and I'm hoping that you would basically send it back to the planning department and/or the planning commission and/or the planning, there's another planning in there, planning committee, and let them take a look at it, put it back out so that the public has a chance to comment. And I did some emails out to all of you today. I don't know if you saw those or not, and also to a number of ones at the city attorney. So that's basically it. I just hope that there would be a chance for public comment on docket 91 concerning ADUs. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Diane Ferguson.
Hello, my name is Diane Ferguson.
Diane.
Hi.
How come I always get that wrong, Diane? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It's I spell it unusually. D-I-A-N and then Ferguson, F-E-R-G-U-S-O-N. And I was on the West Hill Yes Annexation Committee. I'm also a member of the West Hill Business Association. And I'm coming forward, first of all, to just thank the City Council for allowing us the opportunity to take annexation to a vote. That was really appreciated. And in the process of taking it to a vote, I want to thank the City Council people. I also want to thank the staff, Jay Covington, and the Office of Economic Development, and everyone who provided us with information. And I thank you, Mayor, for allowing the vote to go forward. I would say that we ran out of time. The truth is we had expected that we would be talking about annexation a lot earlier, that we would have gone to vote in February, and we had geared up for that. And what we ran up against was the fact that a lot of people, didn't know they lived in unincorporated King County. Many people thought they lived in Seattle, and we had a whole hurdle to just educate them about the fact that they didn't live in Seattle. And it took a lot of education just to let them know where they lived at and where the boundaries were and what the neighborhoods were. And then we had to fight a lot of misinformation. And as Suzanne has already elaborated, many people thought that Renton did not want unincorporated West Hill as a part of the city of Renton. Now, I believe that that's not true, because in afterthought, we're still every day getting more questions and more answers, and unfortunately, some people think that it'll just automatically come up for a vote again. But what it has done was generate lots of interest. And so I'm here tonight to say to you, please do not remove us out of the PAA, so that there can possibly be another opportunity to vote in 2015, because I think next time around we'd be a winner. There are many people who are already excited and geared up to put a petition together to start the whole process over again. And I also think that it's really in the best interest of the city of Renton, as well as unincorporated West Hill. And the reason is because, just as the world is global, the relationship in terms of proximity, we're so close to each other, and it's sort of like what's good about the West Hill spills over into Renton, and what's bad about the West Hill spills over into Renton, whether you like it or not. And people associate the two. And I think that there really is an opportunity for, just in terms of what your own plans are as a city, to become a larger city and to take advantage of the economic opportunities that come with being a larger city and having a larger population, as well as the fact that we're in the backyard of the city of Renton, and that I think what you offer in terms of a city around police and safety issues and detectives and your wonderful fire department and the ability for people to have access to political representation and the addition of, potentially 17% to 20% more folks as residents. I think those are great opportunities, and that economy will actually get better. So I would just encourage you to think about all of those things, and that you should not take the West Hill out of your PAA, and that you should be open to having a petition, and for those who are willing to work hard to do public education, to let it go to another vote, because I think the second time around it'll be successful, because we are already hearing all of those folks who now understand they're not part of the city of Seattle just because they have a city of Seattle address, and all of those kinds of things, that I think the second time around it would be a success. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, and I want you to know that the city council's had no discussions about removing West Hill from the PAA.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, council, we're moving on to the consent agenda. We have 10 items for your consideration. Are there any items the council member would like pulled for discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull item J, please.
Okay. Any others?
With that, then I move that the council concur in the consent agenda minus item J.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Zwicker, seconded by Ms. Breyer, that council concur with the consent agenda minus item J. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Zwicker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item J concerns negotiations with Waste Management regarding the missed service during the strike and then disposition of any funds received from the settlement. I was looking at it and had some questions for the administration, and we thought that maybe the best course of action would be, number one, is just to go ahead and authorize the mayor to do those negotiations, which have been ongoing, and then secondarily, then we do a referral on what to do with the money. So with that, I'm going to make two motions. First motion would be ask that the council concur that the administration be allowed to negotiate a settlement with Waste Management for the missed service during the strike.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Zwicker, seconded by Ms. Breyer, that council authorize the administration to negotiate a settlement with Waste Management for the disruption in garbage and food waste collection. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Oppose.
Motion carries.
And then the second would be a motion to refer the disposition of the funds, if a settlement does come through, to Committee of the Whole.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Zwicker, second by Mr. Person, that, I'm sorry, refer that to Committee of the Whole?
Committee of the Whole.
That the distribution of the settlement topic be referred to Committee of the Whole. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, thank you. Unfinished business, Mr. Zwicker.
Mr. Mayor, according to the agenda, there would be a Committee of the Whole report regarding the budget, and then some ordinances and resolutions following later in the agenda. Those are all just as a normal course, because we had discussion on it tonight. We did give some preliminary approval to the Committee of the Whole committee report, but wanted to give opportunity for public comment, so that will be heard next week. That is all I have in unfinished business.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Corman.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Palmer.
Yes, I have one Community Services Committee report.
Community Services Committee report, Airport Advisory Committee appointments. The Community Services Committee recommends concurrence in Mayor Law's appointments of Mr. Keith A. Williams to the Airport Advisory Committee, West Hill Neighborhood primary position, for a term expiring on May 7th, 2015, and Mr. Scott Peltier to the Airport Advisory Committee, the Boeing Company representative, for an unexpired term expiring on May 7th, 2014. This is signed by the three committee members.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Ms. Palmer.
I move that council concur with the committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Palmer, seconded by Mr. Prince, that council concur with the Community Services Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Person.
No old business.
Okay, Mr. Prince.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. We will have the ordinances for the docket next week, but the Planning and Development Committee does have a report.
Okay.
Planning and Development Committee report, City Code Title IV Development Regulations, 2012 docket, Group 8. The Planning and Development Committee concurs in the Staff and Planning Commission recommendations to adopt the following items on the 2012 Title IV docket. D72, footnotes cleanup. Delete unused footnotes, combine similar or redundant footnotes, and generally make the regulations more concise and user-friendly. D78, planning near pipelines. Require a notice on title when hazardous pipelines are located within 500 feet of a development project. D80, streetlight manual. Amend code to develop newly adopted street lighting requirements, including illumination for each street classification as the city is moving to new lighting technologies. D81, undergrounding ordinance. Refine code language to be simplified and more easily understood, and to remove mandates for conversion to underground utilities that were established in 1968 and have not been implemented. D82, vesting. Consolidate all vesting-related texts that currently exist in Title IV to one new section to simplify and streamline the code. Establish clear vesting regulations for specific land use applications and other permit applications, and bring the city's vesting regulations into compliance with current vesting case law. D83, variance decision criteria. Amend one variance decision criteria from undue hardship to practical difficulties and unnecessary hardship. D84, water class map. Amend the water class map to show classes 2 to 5 water streams to improve legibility and clarity, since Class 1 water streams are regulated by the Shoreline Management Act and Shoreline Master Program. D85, overlay map. Make changes to the zoning overlay portions of the city's code to eliminate conflicts between the various overlay districts by removing or updating some map exhibits and making minor language changes to the affected sections. D86, hearing examiner rules and procedures. Provide for regulations to govern and guide the role of the hearing examiner and the conduct of hearings. D87, ham radio conditional use permits. Simplify permitting for ham radio antennas in residential zones by allowing building-mounted antennas of up to 6 feet in height and freestanding single vertical monopole antennas of up to 45 feet in height. Require a conditional use permit for larger structures and remove the requirement for a height variance. D89, administrative code interpretations. 10 interpretations which have already been in effect are to have their related code language updated. D90, King County transfer of development rights and interlocal agreements. Move forward with adoption of an interlocal agreement with King County. D91, accessory dwelling units review. Amend code to limit the size of accessory dwelling units, ADUs, to either 800 square feet or 75% of the square footage of the primary unit, whatever is less. Also to include ADUs in the calculation for maximum lot coverage and limit the height of ADUs to the same height as the primary dwelling unit. D92, hotel in the commercial office. Amend the Renton Municipal Code to allow hotel uses in all areas zoned commercial office. D93, development and existing structures. Remove existing dwellings in the R10 and R14 zones to comply with the residential design guidelines and off-street parking requirements if they are retained as part of a new development. Amend the residential design guidelines to provide clear and specific standards in the R10 and R14 zones. D14, technical amendments. Make a series of amendments which do not change any policies but provide clarity and consistency in the Renton Municipal Code. The committee further recommends that the ordinance regarding these matters be presented for first reading. This is signed by the 3 committee members.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Prince.
As I said, we'll have those ordinances next week, but I wanted to make sure we got this committee report out. With that being said, I ask that the council concur with the recommendation of the Planning and Development Committee.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Prince and seconded by Ms. Breyer that council concur with the Planning and Development Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Bonnie. Ms. Breyer.
Yes, the Finance Committee has a report.
Finance Committee report, approval of claims and payroll vouchers. The Finance Committee approves for payment on November 19th, 2012, claim vouchers 316481 through 316997, 5 wire transfers and one payroll run with benefit withholding payments totaling $5,404,704.14, and payroll vouchers include 725 direct deposits and 61 payroll checks totaling $1,670,391.57. This is signed by the 3 committee members.
Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Breyer.
I move that council concur with the Finance Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Breyer, seconded by Mr. Taylor, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, we have no resolutions or ordinances this week. All of those will be coming up next week, so we'll move on to, audience comment. Is there anybody who want to address the council?
Funny. Out of order.
Yeah.
I wonder. Bring presents.
Hello, again, my name's Audrey Adams at 10939 Southeast 183rd Court in Renton. Happy to be here again. And in anticipation of next week's Committee of the Whole on water fluoridation, I'm bringing you more documentation because I fear that the amount of information that Dr. Bill Osmondson will have to present in the 15 minutes will be rather overwhelming to grasp without more background information, both of the science and of the politics of fluoridation, which there's plenty. Honestly, this topic is huge, and it's highly complex, but I am extremely grateful that you've delegated this time to listen to opposing views on fluoridation. The documentation that I'm bringing is the best that I could think of, actually, and that is this book, The Case Against Fluoride. And the reason it's particularly relevant, because it's absolutely packed with the science and references to the science regarding the fluoride studies that the book makes to make its case against fluoride. There's no publication supporting fluoridation that's yet come out of the pro-fluoride camp with even a fraction of the number of reference studies as this book. And they've had 60 years to do that, so I sincerely hope that they can come up with something that's half as good as this. And I will ask you, please, next week or in the future, to please ask anyone who promotes water fluoridation to provide you with referenced, published studies that support their claim that fluoride is safe, particularly their claim that fluoride is safe for the developing brain. An interesting note, the Freedom of Information request to the CDC revealed that the Oral Health Division acted alone in its review of fluoridation, that not a single profession within the CDC outside of the dental experts participated in determining the safety of fluoridation. That's no toxicologists, no endocrinologists, no neurologists. So in other words, the CDC's Oral Health Division claim that fluoride is safe is referring only to the safety to teeth, not to brains. Part of that is because a lot of it, the information is new, so new, in fact, that it's just tons of information has come out in the last decade. The Oral Health Division doesn't have the capacity to determine the safety to the brain of a developing fetus and young babies. I've put in here, there's 3 chapters, obviously. I don't expect you to read the whole book. I read a lot slower than that. I don't expect you to do any more than me. But there are 3 chapters that are particularly relevant. And I've put a little marker in here. One is, of course, on the brain, because that happens to be the area that I am obviously most interested in because of my personal issue with my child who has a severe neurological disorder. The first is something from the EPA, and it's a database of developmental neurotoxicants, and it listed in categories and under the list of chemicals with substantial evidence of developmental neurotoxicity. Fluoride's on that list. So anyway, I've just tucked that in for you to see. You can look at it yourself. That's the EPA. That's not me. And margin of safety. That's really relevant. How much margin of safety for those who are most highly susceptible, such as folks with autism, like my son. But we're not talking about my son here, because the damage has already been done to him. I'm talking about all of the new kids, the unborn babies. And then under the precautionary principle, I've put some graphs that I think you'll be very interested in. And finally, nobody can argue that brains trump teeth. Hands down, all the time, always, brains trump teeth. And science has emerged just recently, and we can't turn our backs on that new science. We didn't know when we started here, or when fluoridation programs started 60 years ago. We didn't know. Now we need to look at that new information. And we must alter our policies and practices based on new information, not 50 years ago. As we did with tobacco, asbestos, and lead, times change, science change. We have to change with it. And our highest priority has to be protecting our children. And finally, I wanted to let you know that Dr. Bill Osmondson, who will be addressing you next week, giving the opposing view, he doesn't get paid by anybody. Unlike the Department of Health, who I highly respect, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But they are paid to promote water fluoridation. Dr. Bill Osmondson is not paid by anyone, not to drive up here, and he's losing money by driving up here instead of treating patients. So I appreciate it so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so the council's wondering why I'm out of order. It's because I'm following the agenda. We're going to move on to new business. Mr. Zwicker.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a few items. First is the election of the council president and president pro tem for 2013. I'd like to make a motion. Randy Corman be named council president for 2013 and Don Person be named council president pro tem for 2013.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Zwicker, seconded by Ms. Breyer, that Randy Corman be appointed council president for 2013 and Don Person be elected president pro tem for 2013. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, one abstention. The motion carries.
Then secondly, I'd like to make a motion to form the committee on committees, which would be, according to council policy, is the current council president, incoming, and incoming pro tem. So the committee on committees would be me, Randy, and Don. That's my motion.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Zwicker, seconded by Ms. Breyer, that council form a committee on committees, which would include council members Zwicker, Corman, and Person. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
One abstention. The motion carries.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Corman.
I would just like to thank my council colleagues for the honor to serve as council president. I'm looking forward to 2013 and will do everything I can to represent this council faithfully.
Thank you, Mr. Corman, and congratulations. We're glad we didn't have to go for a year with commercials and campaigning.
Yeah, exactly. No ads run on TV or anything, so.
And just then continuing on, just for reference purposes, the committee on committee will meet not next Monday, but the following Monday, 2 weeks from now. And we'll have a more specific time to call out next week as appropriate. And then with that, I would call out the committee of the whole meeting for Monday, November 26th, beginning at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. And as discussed, that will be the one topic of water fluoridation. That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Taylor.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Utilities Committee will be canceled for Monday, November the 26th, and that is all.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Corman?
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Ms. Palmer?
Yes, the regular scheduled Community Services Committee next Monday will be canceled, and that's it.
Okay. Mr. Person?
No new business.
Okay, Mr. Prince?
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
And Ms. Breyer?
I have some items that I'd like to refer to committees. I don't have any committee meetings to announce. Today in the Finance Committee, we talked about perhaps looking at fund balance reserve policy. So Ewan knows what we're talking about. It would be a policy that we would have to actually rebuild funds once they're depleted. The other thing for...
You want that referred to the Finance Committee?
Yes.
Second?
So moved by Ms. Breyer, second by Mr. Zwicker, that the topic of fund balance reserve policies be referred to the Finance Committee. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
The other thing I would like to have forward to the Finance Committee has to do with a briefing only from the court on fine collections.
Second?
It's been moved by Ms. Breyer, second by Mr. Taylor, that a briefing on
Fine collections.
fine collections be referred to the Finance Committee. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Next, I'd like to say that I had the opportunity to attend the National Pipeline Safety Conference in New Orleans a week and a half ago. Very educational. I sit on the governor's board for it in Washington, here in Washington State. Out of that, one of the things that came up in my mind was in public safety, actually having a briefing on what, on how they're prepared for pipeline safety and any connection that they've had with our local purveyors, since we have a lot of pipelines in our area.
Second.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was not paying attention.
Public safety briefing on pipelines.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's been moved by Ms. Breyer, second by Mr. Zwicker, that the Public Safety Committee be briefed on pipeline safety.
Gee, he doesn't, now knowing that the mayor doesn't
I'm
even
sorry, I
listen
He
to
was
me.
accusing me of campaigning.
All those in
For
favor?
council president.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
And Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr.
As
Carmen.
one who was in that illegal side conversation while she was making an important motion, I just wanted to say that I really very much appreciate Ms. Breyer's interest in pipeline safety. She's doing the residents of our city a great favor because, as she says, we have many pipelines here, and her growing expertise in that area is very valuable to us.
Yep, very true. Thank you.
Okay, one last one.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. I have heard from other sources that there may be other options for being the first responder vehicle in emergencies, that rather than sending large trucks, ladder trucks and stuff, that there are could be opportunities for smaller vehicles that would bring emergency. Anyway, I'd like to have that discussion in public safety.
Public safety. Okay, it's been moved by Ms. Breyer, seconded by Mr. Corman, that a discussion regarding options to EMS response vehicles be referred to the Public Safety Committee. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. That's it?
That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Breyer. What's the wish of the council?
Mr. Mayor?
Oh, I'm sorry,
We have
Mr. Corman.
resolutions and stuff.
If I may, I had a couple of quick comments I wanted to make, and I don't want to stir up any controversy based on comments the public made tonight, but I hate to have comments go unreferenced, because I know it's really important to me, and I know it's important to the council, that the public knows that we're listening to them when they speak. So even when you say something and you don't hear anything back, it doesn't mean that we haven't listened. And two items I just wanted to touch on super quickly. I just wanted to collect my thoughts a little bit. But the first one is West Hill, and I thought the comments made tonight were, very good comments. Appreciated getting the input about not moving West Hill out of the PAA, and as the mayor said, we haven't had any discussions about that. But I did want to point out there were a couple of different separate comments, and I wouldn't want anybody to misconstrue them when put together. The city basically stayed out of that election because we're required to stay out of elections. And I wanted to be clear on that while it's true that the council was divided about putting it on the ballot, that really had not anything, or I'm going to say, at least on behalf of myself and I think other members of the council, it wasn't a matter of whether we wanted the people of West Hill to be City of Renton residents. It was really about the timing and whether we thought the financials were in place for the timing of that. But then, regardless of the outcome of that, we, at least for myself, and I believe the mayor as well, treated the election like any other annexation election. So I just wanted it to be clear that we weren't like sandbagging the campaign or anything like that. It's with all the other areas that have looked at annexation, the city stays out of it, and we're required to. So it really becomes a question for the campaigns to respond, and every campaign I've ever seen, people feel like there's misinformation from the other side, and they have to address it, and the city can't really get involved. Frankly, I think that West Hill and Fairwood and many of the East Plateau, all of them they're heavy lifts for the people promoting annexation, because really there's three options in every case, or people see it as three options. West Hill, I think people say, oh, maybe we can annex to Seattle, or they're saying maybe we should just stay part of King County, or they're saying maybe we can annex to Renton. And anytime you have three options, getting a majority to go with one of them is really tough. And in Fairwood, the other option that they always talk about is being their own city. So it's a heavy lift, and it was up to the campaigns. But again, I admire everybody that's involved in the political process, and I just wanted to say that. The second item I just wanted to hit on real quick, the accessory dwelling unit, that is part of the Planning and Development Committee report we just put forward. We had a speaker tonight concerned about the position we've taken on that. There is public comment, there was tonight, there is in the next council meeting where we'll hear the ordinance, there will be in the meeting after where we'll hear it a second time. But in general, I think the Planning and Development Committee felt like the accessory dwelling unit ordinance, when it was created, it wasn't intended to redo the zoning of single-family neighborhoods. I mean, single-family neighborhoods, it's one house per lot. The accessory dwelling unit, the concept was, maybe an aging parent could live in a little cottage in the back, or you could build a little cottage for maybe an adult child that's grown up that's not ready to live entirely on their own or something. It wasn't intended for another full-size house to go in the backyard of every existing house, which would really require duplex zoning. And so the Planning and Development Committee really wanted to have constraints on, and so did the Planning Commission, on the size of that accessory dwelling unit. And people are free to come comment if they dramatically disagree with that at the next audience comment. But I sympathize with the gentleman that was speaking. I know he had plans, and this kind of sounds like might spoil those plans a little bit. I'm sorry about that, but I didn't want anybody to think we weren't listening. Thank you for the time.
You bet. Thank you, Mr. Corman. Mr. Zwicker, did you have something?
Not anymore.
I move we adjourn.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, yes,
you've
Mr.
got
Chair.
some ordinances to...
No, those will be held off until next week.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Zwicker that we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.